everyone. My name is Taylor Luke. I am the host and creator of the Greenhouse Game. It's a live reality game that's a mixture of auction gameplay, Big Brother style nominations, and Survivor style voting, banked votes, and all of the like. I think it's a mix of everything. It's my favorite show, though I'm also the target audience. And tonight is the draft for season 3. I could not be more thrilled with the cast, and I could not be more thrilled with the premiere. And tonight we have 3 drafters with us doing an auction style draft to try to pick who the winner of the Greenhouse Season 3 is from just one episode. So we'll see how well they do. First up, we have from Season 1 of the Greenhouse, it is Meredith. Hi, Meredith.
Hi.
How are you doing? How have you been?
I've been great. Really love this first episode. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Now, Meredith was just on our Luke's Big Brother 19, and she had quite a run. Meredith, how has the fame been for you? Have you been recognized on the street for your success?
Recognized by a fellow player in my own house, and I do love reading the comments. It's so much fun to see how people interact with the season, and I love watching the draft also of that season. It's so interesting to see other people's impressions of a first episode when you were there in person and you saw, the unedited versions. So it's interesting that I had done a draft before that, but I'd never seen a draft of my own season. So now I've been on both sides.
Yes, definitely. And coming from another live reality game, Home Alone, we have Ava. Ava, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. So good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Home Alone. How was your time on the show?
So Home Alone is kind of a mixture of Big Brother and Survivor, and it was created by this guy, Gavin. His channel is Liger Blubber, and basically you start out with 2 teams, you compete in challenges, the team that loses has to vote someone out each round. Eventually you merge and you just try to be the last one home alone.
Yeah, love it. I watched Ava's season. She's iconic. She had my favorite moment of the season, so I won't spoil anything, but take a look at it. All right, and our last drafter of the night, joining us from the Ascendance community, very relevant to this season of the Greenhouse, it's Duke. Hi, Duke. How are you doing?
What's up? I'm doing well. Thank you for having me be a part of the draft. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for joining us. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Ascendance before we get going?
Yeah, so Ascendance, it's a very hybrid format. It's kind of like a baby child of Survivor and Big Brother. And season 3 is about to premiere soon. And there's, I think, an Ascendance Live alum in this cast, which I'm excited to see how they do.
Yes, there sure is. Edmund. We love Edmund here. Edmund Nation Rise. All right, cool deal. So we have everybody here. We have a lot to cover, so I'm ready to dive in if y'all are. So to catch up, everybody who's watching this live or ahead of or later, not ahead, later, we are doing an auction-style draft in the spirit of the Greenhouse. All 3 of our drafters get 30 seeds for the night. That is it. And we will go 1 contestant of the Greenhouse at a time as they try to bid on players to recruit them for their team. No one is guaranteed any number of players. One person could get 11 players if they wanted to. It would be a travesty for the others if that happened, but who knows? Anything can happen. It's an auction-style draft. Loved it for last season, and we're going to love it for this season. Now, let me pull up my PowerPoint of the players. When I say graphic design, what does that mean to you? To me, it means, I can't find my PowerPoint. Oh, God. Oh, it's falling apart immediately. Okay, I found it. But anyway, graphic design is my true love, my true passion, and my only skill. And tonight, I'm going to put that on display for everyone. Let me see. Oh, God, it's still not working. It's okay. Give me 1 second while we deal with these technical difficulties. While I put myself on mute and figure this out, how about we discuss first impressions of the cast and episode? Meredith, we can go with you.
Sure. Taylor and I were just talking a little before the broadcast about how my impression of this cast is that it's very social in a sort of different way than the previous seasons have been. that like season 2 was very much about cliques and about groups and us versus them for the bulk of the competition. But even just from this first episode, it's a lot of like big personalities, and they themselves note it's a lot of extroverts, and people were really willing to make power moves in the very first challenge. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that shakes out and they start to interact as the game progresses.
Yeah, the thing that stood out to me the most when I first watched it was like, oh my God, each person is just like so distinct and like a character. And there are just a lot of big personalities. So I'm interested to see how those are going to like either mesh together or conflict.
I agree with both of you guys. I will say that this is the first time I've ever actually watched The Greenhouse. So this was my first iteration of all the rules and everything. So it was a lot to take in for me. But I thought there was a lot of great characters, and some people knew each other. I kind of caught on, and some people already were throwing some shade at other people. So it was fun to look into this first episode.
Yeah, all these like small connections are going to be really interesting to see how they affect the game, because everyone only knows 1 or 2 other people. So that should be an interesting dynamic.
All right, here we are. We figured it out. We moved to Google Docs from the PowerPoint app, and it looks even better this way. So here we are with our 14 contestants. I have random.org, a list of their names, and the person on top of that list will be the first person up for grabs. All right, here we go. Our first contestant up tonight is Zach. Let me expand him over here. Yeah, that'll work just fine. Everyone has 30 seeds for now. So with 30 seeds for everyone on the table, Zach's up for grabs. Does anyone want to try to recruit Zach?
I will try to recruit Zach for 1 seed.
I'll do 2 seeds for Zach. Do we just keep saying like how much? Cool.
Nailing it so far.
I'll go in for 3 seeds.
4 seeds, please.
All right, I'm tapped out.
All right, 4 seeds going once. Going twice. Congratulations, Duke. Zach has joined your team for 4 seeds. You have 26 seeds left.
Welcome.
So what was it that made you feel 4 seeds confident in Zach?
So Zach was one of the people that I had ranked highly off of the first episode. I know that we only have the first episode to go off of, but basically the read that I got on Zach was he was a newer player, but a lot of the people that seemed to be like veterans of live games wanted to work with him and kind of take him under their wing. And I think that while, I don't know the format that well just yet, I think that that'll be good for Zach to kind of have people that want to work with him that know what's kind of going on, and he could maybe fly under the radar for a little bit. So that's why I wanted to grab Zach for my team.
Yeah, definitely. Meredith, I know on your season of The Greenhouse, the ultimate winner was someone who is also new to live reality games. So what do you think it is about having that beginner's luck in specifically our community's games? Is there something there?
Oh, I'd never call it luck. I feel like any player who wins is ultimately very skilled, because it's in the Greenhouse, especially, it is a jury vote ultimately that decides it. So you cannot win this game by coasting through and getting led along by another player. You do have to earn the respect of that jury. And while being nice and not making waves counts for something, and is the play style that some people ultimately go for, I feel like it tends to be players who make more moves and make bolder choices who do get that jury respect, which is why I sort of held off on this vote. But yeah, I feel like sometimes the players with more experience are trying to make these big maneuvers, and they're so busy maneuvering each other that a player who's not as focused on that and doesn't have experience and the confidence to do that kind of thing can be part of it and can claim it, but they're not initiating it, and they're not a target of that because people don't see them as much of a threat because they lack that experience. And so it's a combination of things, and it does take the right kind of person to navigate that newness with the sharks in the water. But yeah, it is definitely an interesting situation to be in, and the fact that we do have players with no experience who do win.
Definitely, very fair. Ava, what was it that capped you at 3 here? Do you have any reservations about Zach?
It's not really anything about Zach personally, although I will agree with Meredith in the fact that I don't foresee him making any like super huge game-changing moves that would really like boost his vote in the jury. I think that he's a very personable guy, and I think that he's going to be like a people pleaser, and many people will like him and get along with him. But I'm just kind of saving my seeds for the people I predict to be top dogs.
All right, fair enough. So, Duke, you won this first round of the draft. So, which player is up next?
I will do Shakira.
All right, Shakira is on the board. Excuse me while my graphic design skills show themselves. All right, Shakira is up for grabs. Would anyone like to recruit Shakira on their team?
I will place 2 seeds.
I'll go for 3.
I'll do 4.
I'll go 5.
I will do 6.
6 seeds on Shakira. Once, twice. Congratulations, Ava. Shakira has joined your team for 6 seeds. So, what was it about Shakira that stood out to you?
She has so much going on in her head, and I love it. She has like all the aspects that make a good winner. She's very nice. She's very social. She's not going to be afraid to approach people and start making negotiations. She's also very organized. She's a med student, so I believe that she's got that, little smartness in her. She's going to be good at strategy. The only reservation I would have about her is, she is very headstrong, and maybe she might like fly too close to the sun, but I'm confident in my girl. She slays.
Absolutely. Duke, I noticed that you weren't bidding there. Are there any specific reservations you have?
The only thing that and this could be me not knowing the game that well just yet. I felt like the move to go for whichever flower she chose early on, it puts you out there. I feel like it seems like she seems like a player that wants to make big moves and play aggressive, and sometimes those players get clipped, I feel like. So that's why I kind of held off on my bidding. I did really like her, and she was somebody that I had ranked highly. I didn't want to give up too many seeds too early, so that's why I held off.
Definitely. Meredith, what stands out about Shakira to you?
I agree with everything that Ava said. She very much seems like a competitive player, and something that none of the players themselves really talked about in this episode was the competitions. The fact that there are going to be a lot of challenges that are going to give a lot of opportunities to players to advance themselves in the game. And I feel like she will be a strong force at these, considering she is both an athlete and a med student. That tells me intellectual challenges and physical challenges will both be opportunities for her. So I do think that's very exciting to have in a player. So that's something that definitely stood out to me, that the players weren't really talking about what's going to be a challenge or what's going to be an advantage when it comes to challenges. They were very focused on the social aspects, and that's where I started to get nervous when the seed count was getting high in this auction. That I feel like there's a lot of socializing going on in this first episode, that there's Nothing too strong happening just yet. There's a few directions that I think things will start to head in, but I can definitely see her ending up on the outside of more than one group, seeing as she is someone who only knows Thomas, and he's connecting with other people, and I know that he does see the opportunity to connect with her, but I'm not sure about how many other people she's going to really click with, especially because she was the first person to go in this challenge, and the others were able to stay behind and negotiate with one another. And as soon as she was in the greenhouse, people started to say, like, oh, this group, the 5 of us, the 3 of us, and start to make connections. And she was already out of those conversations. And something like that can actually be a huge missed opportunity later in the game.
Absolutely. That was one of the things I liked about the way that this challenge worked out, is that it quickly divided the cast into people who were done with the challenge and people who were still fighting to finish the challenge. So I think it shifted the different power structures that could have formed very early on. But also, luckily, because Shakira was the first one in the greenhouse, she was able to grab power from the start as well. So she may have been outside of the first conversations of the game, but she has a lot of say in this first round. Ava, now that Shakira's on your team, do you have any? What are your thoughts about her bold move to choose the nominating power with the very first play of the game?
So I know that that could be seen as something threatening, and that might, like, come down on her later in the line. But for me, I don't know. I just have a lot of trust in her. And I feel like since she'll be in a position of power, she's going to be speaking to literally every single person in that house. People are like just still going to subconsciously view her as this, like, very like dominant personality, someone that you want on your side, not against you.
Definitely. All right, let's keep moving. Ava, you got the last player in the draft. So which player is up next?
I'm going to go with Edmund.
All right, Edmund on the board. Edmund Nation, rise. All right. So, opening up the bids for Edmund. Does anyone want to try to recruit Edmund on their team?
I'll go for 1 seed.
I'll go 3.
I will do 4 seeds.
Four seeds on Edmund. Once. Twice. Congratulations, Duke. Edmund joined your team for 4 seeds. Is this a steal for you? Oh, it is. So, what is it about Edmund that made you had to get him?
The guy just knows how to win, honestly. No, Edmund, I think, is. It seemed like this episode, there was people talking about potentially going after Edmund, but I feel like he just has that it factor. I feel like he can figure a way out of it. He's not new to these live games. I feel like he'll be able to hopefully get through this rough patch of the first episode where people were potentially going after him and kind of sink his teeth into this game. And I think he has all the tools that can do that. So plus I got to represent Ascendance. So that's why I threw my 4 seeds at Edmund.
Yeah, definitely. I was thrilled when Edmund said that he was actually able to come. Very cool of him to drive all the way down to play the greenhouse. Meredith, what made you bid on Edmund?
The fact that he is that sort of very energetic, very knowledgeable player, that he's got like a lot of experience with live reality games, and I think he's got a lot of strategies, and I definitely see that as an advantage for the player who can wield it well. I do worry about flying too close to the sun with this one, that this early people are already picking up vibes and seeing that strength and seeing it for the threat that it is. Does make me worry for him. That is definitely imminent danger, particularly that players who are trying to keep their friendship a secret are feeling threatened by the way he's watching them. Makes it feel like I'm not sure what's going to happen. I do think there is like Duke said, a strong potential for him to find a way. But yeah, I definitely think that he is a threat. Maybe his own weakness, but he definitely is a threat in this game.
Definitely. I think that's one of my favorite moments of the episode when I zoom in on Edmund just looking at Rogue and Brady, and immediately clocking them, but also them clocking him back that he's so observant. Yeah, I really, really like Edmund. I think he's a very strong player, but I do think he's a visibly strong player. So we'll see how that works out for him. Ava, do you have any other comments about Edmund?
Edmund is here to kick ass and talk trash, and I love it. I'm here for it. But I can see how that would not make him a very popular person in the house. He's already starting to butt heads with a few people. So I think that it might be kind of going downhill for him like pretty soon. But personally, I love him. I'm rooting for him. I really do hope that he makes it far.
Love it. Edmund Nation. All right, Duke, you get to choose the next player up for grabs. Who's up?
I will choose Shane.
All right. Shane, up to bat. Would anyone like to try to recruit Shane on their team?
I'll go 3 for Shane.
3 for Shane. Once.
I'll do 4 for Shane.
4 for Shane on the board.
I'll go 5.
5 for Shane. Any other bids? Once? Twice? Congratulations, Meredith. You have your first player for 5 seeds, was it? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Shane joined your team. What made you what is it about Shane that stuck out to you to get him on your team?
One thing that made a strong impression to me is that he is, I believe, the only player who mentioned challenges in some of his opening interviews. That he talked about his abilities in those regards. He's an engineer, so I think he'll be good at some of the more cerebral challenges. And the fact that the way other players talked about him was very positive, that people seem to like him a lot so far, despite the fact that I don't know that if he knows anyone personally here. He might be one of the few who doesn't have an existing social connection to rely on, but people were already starting to talk about him positively, and he seems like he's going to have a pretty good social game, despite being, I don't know, less obviously extroverted than some of the other players. But I don't know, something about him clicks with me. I like his style.
Definitely. Ava, what are your thoughts on Shane? Anything stand out?
Shane was the one that I was really, really iffy about because I feel like he's one of those people that like either he has a lot of like followers, people really look up to him, they vote how he wants because they don't want to be his enemy, or he's the type of person that they stage a mutiny against and they realize that he is such a strong player that he's a big threat. So I would just rather not take the risk.
Fair enough. Duke, you threw a few seeds at Shane. What are your thoughts?
I really do like Shane. I thought also engineer, so I like that about him. I thought that the first episode he was in, when people were doing confessionals, they were mentioning Shane, so I thought that was a good sign that people wanted to work with him. But I have, a limit on seeds here, so I couldn't bid another one there. But I think that's a steal at 5 seeds.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm really happy to have Shane on the cast. I think one thing that really stood out to me about Shane on this episode was something that happened off camera. Is you hear Edmund talk in his confessional about all the work Shane was doing in those opening like one-on-one conversations people were having before the game even started. And so I think that speaks a good bit to, I think, Shane's style in this game. I think he's a bit sneaky, but very proactive socially. So we'll see. Very excited to have him. All right. So Meredith, you had the last player. Let me remove those 5 seeds. Who is up next?
Let's talk about Allie.
Allie. Here we go. Fellow Big Brother 19 alumnus. Allie is up for grabs. Would anyone like to recruit Allie?
I'll do 2 seeds.
2 seeds.
I'll go 3.
3 seeds on Allie. Three seeds on Allie. Once. Twice. Congratulations, Meredith. You have recruited Allie on your team for 3 seeds. Is this a steal?
I think so. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know how much higher I would have been willing to go. It was an interesting first episode for her. It is very much reminiscent of her Big Brother playstyle, that she came in saying, like, I'm here to be the villain. It's fun. And I love that energy that she has. And I think what concerns me is the way she was actively telling people she was uninterested in alliances until round 3. That was a major red flag to me. But if she is able to survive that long and make good on that promise, I know she's capable of making moves and getting people to side with her. She very much did that in Big Brother. She was the player that people staged that mutiny against. And I think she's very smart and she is very perceptive. But yeah, I think it's going to be the main hurdle is getting to round 3 when she's telling people she's uninterested in forming relationships before then.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting angle that Allie was taking in this first episode. Duke, do you think she really means that?
I have no idea. I know she said it multiple times, so that's why I was like, kind of like, what's going on with that strategy? She seemed like the only person to be doing that. So I was like, it seems like this game is pretty fast paced. There's only 14 players, so you might want to, jump on any alliances that present themselves. But maybe that's just like a facade of some sort.
Definitely. Ava, what do you have any thoughts on Allie here?
Honestly, I'm excited to see how her strategy plays out. I like her to spice things up. She said that she's gonna play a character for all the episodes, and I really love that. I hope that she starts chaos, but I'm not sure how many seeds I would have continued to bet on her.
Fair enough. I am thrilled to have Allie join us. She was the catalyst of so much of the best parts about Big Brother 19. I think that she played very aggressively. So I think a lot of what you're seeing in this first episode is her reacting to her ultimate elimination in Big Brother 19. So I think she's trying to play it safe because I think she did make too big of a profile for herself last time she was in the ring. But no, she's definitely vocal about wanting to be a big character on the show, and I know she delivers, and she's very show focused whenever she's playing the game, and she's welcome anytime. All right, so Meredith, you won the last player in the draft. Let me remove those 3 seeds. Which player's up next?
We'll keep it in the Big Brother family. Let's go, Abrielle.
All right, Abby. Up for grabs. Oop, I'm struggling, but that is okay. What are our thoughts on Abrielle? Would anyone like to try to recruit her?
I'll do 1 seed.
1 seed.
I'll go 3.
3 seeds on Abrielle.
I will do 4.
4 seeds.
I'll go 5.
5 seeds on Abrielle.
I'm out.
All right, 5 seeds on Abrielle. Going once. Twice. Congratulations, Meredith. You got your 3rd player in a row, I believe, with 5 seeds on Abrielle. All right, what is it about Abrielle that made you have to get her?
Again, I played with her on Big Brother, so I've gotten to see her play style in person, and I do think she's very smart. I do think she is very capable in the social dimension, that people very much like her. She's very friendly. She's good at talking to people. And I think reading the room and navigating the climate of the game, that I think Big Brother did not go the way we sort of expected it to. It was a very interesting game climate. And some people didn't really adapt their expectations, but I think Gabrielle did. But like, it was a very polite game. We were all super like friendly and nice about everything. And again, when Allie is like actively playing the villain, that was sort of a mismatch to the room. But Gabrielle very much got that and proceeded forward with that. And I like that about her playstyle, and knowing that she has that flexibility. I think she would be able to work with a lot of these people well. And I can definitely see her going far.
Definitely. I think another big asset to Abrielle is the fact that she knows the format. She has played Greenhouse as we were developing it over quarantine. Right. So she definitely has her bearings about her. Duke, I know Ascendance is a unique format as well. So I'm sure you know the benefits of being familiar with a new format. So do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the players that play Ascendance live that have played the online version and kind of know the format definitely have an upper hand when going into it. So I guess Abrielle, having played the Greenhouse before is definitely going to be great for her. The only reason why I wasn't bidding on her in this was I didn't really get much of an inkling on how she was going to be playing based on the first episode. And I just didn't have any idea like what she was gonna, her style or anything. But yeah, excited to see how it pans out for her.
Fair enough. It was a quiet episode for her. Ava, do you have any additional thoughts on Abby?
I agree with Duke. That's why, I cut out my bidding, but I will say, like, I do see her potential. She is a vet. So I think that if she is smart about it, I think that she could win it all.
Definitely. All right, Meredith, you won the last player on the draft. Who are you picking next to be up for grabs?
Let's talk about Nick.
All right, Nick. Starting the bid on Nick. I think I did update the seeds. I can't see. Yes, I did. All right. Would anyone like to try to recruit Nick on their team?
I'll start with 3.
3 seeds on Nick.
I'll go 4.
4 seeds on Nick. Going once. Twice.
I'll go 5.
5 seeds on Nick.
I will do 6.
All right, 6 seeds on Nick. Going once. Twice. And I am going to hold it out. Congratulations, Ava. You have recruited Nick on your team for 6 seeds. That ties for the highest bid yet. What is it about Nick that makes you so confident?
Nick is the wild card. I really don't know how things could go with him, but I feel like I've been playing it safe with my picks, and I need to spice it up a little. I need to have someone on my team who is like actively scheming and stirring things up. And Nick is definitely going around making the conversations. And yeah, I have some faith in him. And I couldn't let Meredith get another one.
Definitely, fair enough. Nick was one of the 2 to grab the poison seed from the Greenhouse. Duke, do you have any thoughts on that choice?
I don't really know what that means, to be honest with you. But I do have thoughts on Nick, and I was surprised that Nick went for that much. Honestly, not anything personal towards him, but he seems like a schemer to me, and I feel like it was like he was going around to multiple groups saying, like, I feel good about this group. And I feel like maybe people are gonna like connect the dots that he's doing that. and he might be in trouble. I don't know. He just seemed like a little bit of a sneaky schemer to me, and I feel like people are gonna suss that out for some reason.
Definitely. Meredith, did you notice that about Nick?
Okay, yeah, I definitely see him as a strategic player, and but I still feel like so far at least everyone still likes him a lot. That even if they're seeing him start conversations and initiate dealings, no one is perceiving it to be aggressive or threatening so far. I think especially in a first round, it is hard to tell what that means for the rest of the game. But in a first round, often people are just relieved that someone is starting the conversation. Because they don't know how to necessarily do it themselves. And so it's nice to have those players who are willing to take charge. And yeah, he seems like he's gonna be able to orchestrate some things for himself. It is just a matter of, like the other said, like if it's gonna get him into too much trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious how much of that comes from his experience playing online. Because I know when I've played, it's very easy to just make a random chat and like nobody can see that chat's happening. So I am interested to see how he continues with his tactics of forming new groups. So it'll be fun to watch.
One more thing that I thought of is that he and Edmund might have, a little conflict going on because Nick was supposed to pick Allie to go into the greenhouse and do the picks. So I don't have any predictions for how that's going to go down. Hopefully, for my sake, they will just talk it over and decide that it was no big deal.
Oh, I want to see a battle of the schemers.
Yes, Edmund was floored that he thought he wasn't going to go in at the end of the episode. I love that part. And to recap for everybody watching, the poison seed is part of this season's poison daisy chain twist. So at Holly's auction station, where she accepts all the bids from everyone, she has a box with a like coin depositor slit or whatever. So players are able to put their seeds in that box throughout the day. If at any point 5 seeds are in the box, the poison daisy chain is triggered. So that means that the next elimination ceremony, everything will happen as normal and the person will be voted out as it happens every week. But then that eliminated player will start the poison daisy chain where they choose someone to be safe, who chooses another person, and so on until someone is left unsaved as a second person banish at one banishment ceremony. So the poison seed is a second way to trigger the chain. Instead of needing 5 seeds, you just need 1 poison seed. And if that's in the box, then the twist is triggered. So Nick has a little bit more say over the twist than other people, as does Allie. Yeah, that is Nick. Ava, do you have Ava? Which player is the next person to go?
I'm gonna go with Thomas.
All right, Thomas on the board. Do we have any starting bids on Thomas?
3.
3 seeds on Thomas.
I will do 4.
4 on Thomas.
I'll go 5.
5 on Thomas.
I'll do 6.
6 on Thomas. Six on Thomas. Going once.
I'll do 7.
7 on Thomas.
I'll do 8.
8 on Thomas.
I'll do 9.
9 on Thomas.
Well, I'm doing 10.
10 on Thomas.
I'll go 11.
11 on Thomas.
I'm sorry, Thomas. I just can't afford you anymore. I'm out.
11 seeds on Thomas. Going once. Twice.
Oh my God, 12.
12 seeds on Thomas.
I was already putting him on my squad here. I'll let you have him. It seems like you really want him.
All right. Going once, twice. Congratulations, Ava. Thomas joins your team for where did we land? 12 seeds?
Yes.
12 seeds. All right, that is huge. That is double the previous highest bid. Start us off, Ava.
He has seen it all. Like, he has experienced so many games that, you know, he like has watched all the winners do their strategies, and he has been collecting that information. It's been brewing in his mind for years. And he's just a very likable person. He's already starting to make some alliances, and he's a very social person. And I don't know, I just got that good feeling about him.
Yeah, definitely. Thomas has truly been doing this since we were 12. So, yeah, we've been playing games like this for a while. Duke, what had you so in the ring for Thomas?
Yeah, I think Thomas was the one that mentioned that he recently got his wisdom teeth removed during the time of filming. I actually got my wisdom teeth removed a couple of days ago, so I definitely related to that. But on the side of the game, it just seems like I didn't really understand how he was connected with the whole franchise, how well he was, but it just seemed like he had a comfortability throughout the first episode of what was going on. He knew everything, which makes sense now. And I just felt like he was a person that some of the newer players would lean on to help them through the opening courses of the game. And he just seemed like a big time player in this game. People were saying that he's a big time player within the first episode. So that's why I was like, I might need to spend 13 seeds on him.
Noted. Meredith, what else do you have to add?
Are you going to explain his connection to the franchise?
Huh? Oh, yeah, Thomas is my twin brother. Yeah, I guess I didn't say it explicitly. He's my twin. Yeah, iconic of us.
I mean, I do think he's worth it. I do think he is. He's definitely been a competitor, for over a decade now. I do think, though, that will be an easy card to play against him in the later stages of the game. No one's brought it up so far. I don't know that that necessarily means it's not going to come up, because anyone who wants to play that card and be like, oh, well, we should go for Thomas. He knows too much. He's going to be too good. The later stages, we can't keep him. Too much of a threat. He's one of those people that, like, since people will understand that at any point in the game, you don't need to use it right away, and you can use it to your advantage early in the game, and you can have that strong player on your side in the meantime. The problem with that thinking is often those strong players are able to get far enough that they cannot be removed, and they are able to set their roots in too deep. I've seen that happen many times when people tell themselves, oh, we can get him out later. So I definitely do think he has the potential to go all the way, but I don't know that his reputation won't come to haunt him. But yeah, he's completely familiar with so many of the challenges with the format. He's never played it, but he has certainly seen it played multiple times, as well as all of the other formats. But on his own, he is just an intelligent person. He has a great social presence, and I do think he's going to do well. I definitely respect the 12 seeds.
Definitely. So Thomas, a Titan, clearly. Any other comments before we keep moving?
Steal.
All right. So Ava, you won the last player in the draft. Which player is up for grabs next?
Let's go with Catherine.
All right. Catherine on the board. I keep coming up, Meredith. Let me move you down here. Okay. Cat on the board. Would anyone like to recruit Cat on their team?
2 for Cat.
2 for Cat. 2 for Cat going once.
I will go 3.
3 on Kat. Three for Kat going once. Twice. I'm going to call it. Congratulations, Duke. Kat has joined your team for 3 seeds.
Let's go.
So tell us about Kat, Duke.
So I thought that I really enjoyed Kat's interview with in the intro portion. I thought that she had some funny answers. This episode, in terms of like the gameplay, I feel like didn't really, similar to Abrielle, I didn't really get that much from her, but I feel like she, even though I don't really know much about her, she, for 3 seeds, I feel like that's a steal to get her on the squad. And hopefully she pans out to win.
Yeah, definitely. Kat was a friend of a friend. She did have a quiet episode, but she's very eager to be there and did study very hard before the game. So she knows what she's doing.
Perfect.
Meredith, what are your thoughts on Kat?
Very similar. Not the strongest impression from this episode alone, though the interview with Caitlin was very charming. And I think that so far from the interactions, people do seem to be liking her and getting along with her. She was in some of the more active circles during that first challenge. So I can certainly see her going somewhere with that. But yeah, in one episode, I don't have quite enough evidence to see her going all the way. But I do think she's certainly starting out strong. And anyone who does extensive research is certainly setting themselves up for success.
Definitely. Ava, any other comments on Kat?
I really wanted Kat. But I felt like if I bid, like it would just keep going higher because I don't know. I feel like she is also a perfect candidate to win. She is like pretty quiet for now, which I feel like could be good. Like if other players, kind of destroy themselves and then you're just like busy making good connections, I feel like that could be her strategy for sure. And she seems like she'd be good at both the mental and the physical challenges. So I wanted Kat.
Definitely. All right, Duke, you were the one who won the last player chosen in the draft. Who's the next player up for grabs?
I will do Jack.
All right. Here we go. Jack is up for grabs. Would anyone like to try to recruit Jack on their team?
I'll do 1.
1 seed on Jack.
I'll do 2.
2 seeds on Jack.
I'll do 3.
3 on Jack. Three on Jack going once. Twice. Congratulations, Ava. Jack joined your team for 4 seeds, right? It was 4. Cool deal. So what do you like about Jack?
I don't know. I really don't know. There's something about him. He seems like such a sweetheart. I don't foresee him making any enemies, I guess is like my biggest reason for choosing him. And then also, if I recall correctly, he's in that group with the guy next to him. What's his name? Sorry.
Nick?
Yes, with Nick. Is he in the group with Nick?
Yes, they were talking about the chain.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, got to get the allies on the same team together. And it's a good thing that he's already like starting to make connections. So I'm happy to have him on my team.
Definitely. Duke, do you have any reservations about Jack?
Not necessarily any reservations. I view Jack very similar to my first pick, Zach, in that seemed to be very liked by everyone. Seemed like he was a little bit newer, like didn't have as many connections as maybe the other players, but was pretty well received by everybody. So I think he could probably follow a similar trajectory. And once he kind of figures out what he wants to do and who he wants to move and shake with, then we'll see from there.
Definitely. Meredith, what were your thoughts on Jack?
Yeah, very friendly. I think he's very perceptive, and I think that serves a lot of players really well. I just think he might end up being a little aggressive. Is something that I feel like early in the game, of course, it's hard to be too aggressive, and the people who went into the greenhouse earlier had the most opportunity to showcase that about themselves. So I think he might fly under the radar for a little while, but I can see him making a move that'll get himself into trouble or reward. I'm just not really sure at this point. I really don't know what to expect from him. He's a wild card to me.
Definitely, definitely. Well, congratulations, Ava, on your 4th member of your team. As the winner of the last part of the draft, you get to choose the next person to go. So who is the next player up for grabs?
Oh my God. Wait, did I spend 4 seeds last time on
Jack? Yes.
All right. I have 2 seeds. Yay. I'm gonna go with, let's do Bryn.
All right. Bryn is up for grabs. Would anyone like to recruit Bryn on their team?
I would like to recruit Bryn. I'll do 2 seeds.
All right. 2 seeds from Duke. Two seeds going once. Twice. Congratulations, Duke. You get Bryn for 2 seeds.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Duke, what is it about Bryn that makes you want her on your team?
So before, I really enjoyed Bryn's interview. I enjoyed Bryn, like before the whole like challenge began. I thought Bryn had, I really enjoyed her a lot. And then once I think it was Brady or whoever got in power, they were mentioning potentially putting Bryn as a nominee, which was like not great. But she does know Thomas, I think. So I think that's really going to help her, hopefully in the beginning. And I feel like if she can get through this first round, then potentially she can, maneuver and figure a way to, I don't know, do well. So I enjoyed her personality off the get-go. So that's why I wanted to draft her.
Definitely. I think one of the strengths of the greenhouse, in my opinion, is that there are so many different ways to save yourself for later. So even though Bryn's name is floating out there, there are still plenty of opportunities to potentially find some immunity, right, Meredith?
Right.
Meredith, what are your thoughts about Bryn?
She does seem lovely. I feel like if it's her name is already getting thrown around this round as someone to nominate, that can be hard to shake for players who get nominated early. I feel like that becomes a recurring theme for them because that just tends to happen, that players are like, oh, well, it's already been said, so I'm just going with the flow and I'm not, making more enemies by nominating new people. And so sometimes for those early players, it can be like, if it's not this round, it's the next. And yeah, she could be like me, and you simply can't get rid of her if you want to because of immunity challenges. But we just don't have that much to go on in this situation, and I think she does seem sweet. She seems a little quieter than the rest of the cast. It seems like a very extroverted cast, and she seemed less so. And I feel like that may lead to her getting caught in the crossfire.
Definitely. Ava, do you have any other thoughts on Bryn?
If she got to a jury vote, I feel like she could easily win. But since she is the only person that they're talking about nominating, I'm like, if she got to the jury vote, is seeming like a big stretch. So I do think that she could get far, but I'm just not sure yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Duke, you won the last player in the draft, so you get to choose the next person who is up for grabs. Which player is that?
I will go with Brady.
All right, Brady, our first sunflower of the game, is up for grabs. Does anyone want to recruit Brady on their team?
I'll start at 5.
5 seeds on Brady.
I will do 6.
6 seeds on Brady.
I'll go 7.
7 on Brady.
8.
8 on Brady.
9.
I heard 9.
10.
10 seeds on Brady.
11.
11 seeds on Brady.
12.
12 seeds on Brady.
I'll let him go.
All right. Ava, unfortunately, I won't hold for you. So 12 seeds on Brady. Congratulations, Duke. You have recruited Brady on your team. Another 12 seed pick. What do you think about Brady?
So Brady was my girlfriend's favorite when we watched the episode last night. So she really liked his style, like in general. And I thought Brady, similar to Thomas, was like a mover and shaker. I felt like he has this, I guess, undercover duo. I don't know if anybody knows about him and the other player that he knows, but he has a good relationship already coming into the game. He has power right off the bat, so I feel like he's gonna, maybe build some connections with that. And I liked his composure. I liked the way that he handled himself in the first round, and I feel like he can kill it. So that's why I went all in 12 for Brady. I'm also a Patriots fan, so Tom Brady shout out. So
Shout out, Brady Nation. Ava, what are your thoughts on Brady?
Very, very headstrong, very bold. And, in this game, that could be a really, really good thing or a really bad thing. There's never an in-between. So I would bid on him if I had seats. Looks like another member will not be joining my crew, but quality over quantity. But yeah, I think he is a really good player. But his little friendship with Rogue might, sabotage him.
Definitely. Meredith, what are your thoughts on Brady?
Yeah, it definitely seems like a very strong player. I agree with Ava that sometimes that can get you into trouble. But I feel like Rogue is also a very strong player. And so the two of them being able to work together, whether or not they're able to keep it covert or not, I feel like can be very much to their advantage. And in the greenhouse, it is much better to have a strong relationship early that can carry you through the game. I feel like that's something that winners have done, is that they know who they're working with and they have a small finale-sized group sort of from the get-go, and they stick to that. And I would see Brady and Rogue doing that together, or maybe adding someone else to that group. And that sets them up really well to be very strong. And I'm very much a believer.
Definitely. And I think another thing that helped Brady in the challenge here is that he was after Shakira. So I think it's really Shakira who carries the headline of the shocking choice in the greenhouse when Brady made a move just as early. But I think
and he is explaining that move so well that the narrative that he is giving it is like, I'm not doing it to make enemies. I don't want to put people up. I want to have conversations. I want to get to know everybody. And this is just going to bring people to me. It's such a friendly spin. Like, I've never heard someone say that. It's such a friendly spin on the power grab. And I do believe that he needs it, but I feel like it's going to mask the hurt of the nominations very well, that he's spinning it as this, like, I just need to get to know everybody, and this ensures that I will be doing that.
Yes, I think Brady is just so charismatic and social, but I do think that it pairs very interestingly with his opening confessionals, introducing himself. That he was introducing himself as this messy player, this kind of agent of chaos. But I don't know if that was necessarily translating in this first episode because he seemed pretty calculated. Duke, do you think that Brady will fare more messy or more strategic here based on this first episode?
I'm hoping it's strategic, but I think he will. I think once I think, like everybody's mentioned before, he played off the reasoning of why he chose what he chose early on really well. And if he does have a little bit of messiness later on, it's always fun to watch too. So that'll be fun to watch later down the line if that happens.
Definitely.
And I feel like we do see a lot of players who say they're going to be messy. I've been one of them. In my greenhouse season, I was just like, I'm going to cause so much chaos. I can't be held responsible for what I say. And then I was actually very nice, and was more under the radar. And I feel like a lot of people come in with that mindset that they're like, I'm going to do anything and I'm going to be messy. But when the strategy takes hold in your brain, you know what's best for your game. And I can very much see Brady being one of those players.
Definitely. Any other thoughts on Brady before we move on? Cool deal. All right, Duke, you won the last player in the draft. Who's up for grabs next?
We will go with Olivia.
All right, Olivia is up for grabs. Would anyone like to recruit her or be shady?
I will take her for 6 seeds.
All right, thank you, Meredith. Meredith takes Olivia for 6. All right, Meredith. What made you choose Olivia here when you were choosing between bidding on Brady or taking both Olivia and Rogue?
I do have Olivia rated very highly. I do very much like her energy. I like the way she introduced herself and talked about the way she intends to play the game. She seems very smart and very competent. I think just from like the opening introductions alone, I think maybe she and Shakira had the strongest introductions of themselves, and maybe also Shane introduced themselves really well and came across very competent and knew who they were going into this game. And I really like when people bring that energy. I feel like she is, already getting into some of the groups that are talking, and she has Jack, who I believe she knows already. And I'm not sure about anyone else, but I can definitely see her being threatened in this game and playing this game really well, mostly based on her own expression of herself and not so much on the content of the episode. But that in and of itself tells me a lot about her ability to talk with the cast and to navigate those social relationships throughout the game. So I'm excited to see what she does.
Fair enough. Ava, what are your thoughts on Olivia?
I really like Olivia. I like her strategy of kind of hiding behind other players in the very beginning, but like in the second half of the game, just like stirring up so much chaos, like making so many powerful moves. And it's really like every man for himself towards the end of the game. And I feel like her chaotic strategy might just put her in, like the top 3 or top 2, whatever it comes down to. So I'm really excited to see how she plays.
Definitely. Duke, are you as high on Olivia?
I was not as high on Olivia as, just because based off of the episode, I didn't really get that much. She was one of the players I didn't really get that much of a read on. But I think that she can definitely pan out and do just as well as anybody. Just a couple more episodes to see. I'd like a couple more episodes to see her kind of like integrate into the game a little more.
Yeah, definitely. I think Ava really caught on to what I think Olivia's approach to the game is. And I think, unfortunately, that approach doesn't show much in the premiere. But we'll see. We'll see. There's plenty of season left. So, all right, Meredith, I would ask you to choose our last player, but it's our last player. So, Rogue is up for grabs. Meredith, are you going to be shady?
I will go all in on Rogue.
All in on Rogue. And Rogue goes for 11 seeds. Congrats, Rogue. Okay, so Rogue is the last member of your team, Meredith. How do you feel about him?
I'm very excited to have him. This is a person who I can see winning a jury vote very easily. That's something that stands out to me. That, these people who are allies with the very strong strategic players end up involved in some of the power moves. and learn that from their companion, but he also comes across very sweet and very genuine and a little more soft-spoken than Brady. And I feel like that is often an advantage in those kinds of alliances, to be the person who sometimes makes a softer and better social impression. And I have met Rogue in an online game.
Yeah,
And yeah, and was one of the only people to clock my secret and to be able to figure it out when I was able to dupe the rest of that group of highly competitive players. And that makes an impression on me, that being caught like that, despite the fact that I got away with it, but that was more a matter of timing. And so I do think that he is intelligent and perceptive, and so I'm very excited to have him.
definitely. So to give some background on that story Meredith just told, for my birthday, I hosted a claim to fame themed game online. And Rogue was one of the only ones to clock that Meredith's character was related to Gordon Ramsay. So he's very perceptive. Yeah, super happy to have Rogue on the cast. I think he's one of the only people in the cast who didn't have a like negative confessional about him. Like no one's seeing him as actively threatening. If anything, only friendly. Duke, what are your thoughts on Rogue here?
Yeah, I did like Rogue as the episode went on. I thought he did a great job being the Joker and kind of like finally figuring out how to get into the greenhouse.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I agree with what Meredith said. I do see, like, if this is like a Brady and Rogue duo, I feel like Brady is definitely the larger personality, and that Rogue can definitely that I think that is advantageous for Rogue in terms of if somebody's going to take a shot at one of them, they're probably going to take a shot at Brady at some point. But yeah, I think he had a good episode, the first episode.
Definitely. And he also snagged immunity. He got the tulip, which I think is the least threatening at this point of the greenhouse powers. Ava, what do you think about Rogue's outcome in this episode?
So he was the only person that I didn't really get like any particular vibe from, which, you know, could be a good thing, because if he's like kind of, you know, like staying low for now, that's gonna be good for him, I feel, because like in the beginning of the game, at least I try to like go for the top dogs. So that could really be a good move for him. But also I really hope that someone finds out that him and Brady know each other, and it's like this big like you lied to us, you betrayed us thing. So I'm really hoping for that.
Definitely. It's definitely a storyline to watch out for as the season continues. So here we are at the end of the draft, just going through everybody's team. Duke, here are your 5 players. Zach, Brady, Bryn, Edmund, and Kat. How do you feel about the team?
I'm really happy with it. I got 4 of the top 5 people that I wanted. I'm not going to say who because everybody's welcome on my team. And I think we have a positive outlook, a lot of positive energy going into the season.
Definitely. Love the team. Ava, you have the smallest team of the group, but you have 4. You have 4 here. So how do you feel about your team? Is it quality over quantity?
Absolutely. I could not be more happy with my team, because I have like such a mixture of personalities and strategies. So the odds are in my favor, I feel. And I know that I spent so much of my seeds on Thomas, but that's because I really do have a good feeling about him. And I'm also happy with the other 3. I'm definitely going to have so much fun watching all 4 of them. They're definitely going to be some really entertaining people.
Definitely. I think that's a good read. Meredith, and here we are with your 5 players. How do you feel about your team?
I love my team. I definitely had like a list as I watched the episode of players in sort of a power ranking, and I didn't expect to get all of my top ranked players, because I know that some of those strengths are going to be obvious and other people will want them as well. But I do very much like that I have players from sort of throughout my rankings, not too low, but still, because it's hard to judge from one episode, and you never know how the balance is going to shift. Strong players tend to be targets. And so having this really great distribution means that I have room for people to surprise me. I have room for the game to change. And these are people I have very good feelings about. I'm very excited to see how they play. They're definitely some of the low liars in this episode that we didn't get a ton from any of these people, but that means there's a lot of room to grow. I'm very excited to see what happens.
Definitely. So those are our 14 players of the Greenhouse Season 3. So just largely speaking, before we wrap it up, how do we feel about the group? Meredith, I know you're a veteran of the Greenhouse, so how do you think this cast compares to your cast from your time on the show?
So my cast was very like competitive, analytic, and strategic, and I think we were very challenge focused, and challenges became a very dominant part of the game, partially due to myself, partially just the nature of the cast members. We were very oriented to like, oh, who has this ability, who can do this, and the conversation in this first episode, obviously the challenge was socially oriented, but it was entirely on people's social abilities. People aren't really taking challenges into consideration so far. And the interesting thing is all these little connections that people have of like, oh, I know one person, I know two people, but it doesn't go further than that. And so you get people like Brady and Rogue who have this relationship that they're choosing to hide, which is interesting. Because that can go a lot of ways. Then on Big Brother, I played with my boyfriend and we chose not to hide that. And it did not ultimately lead to my downfall. It led a little bit to Lucas's downfall, but it does not automatically end your game, or at least the game for both players to have some kind of existing relationship. And I'm really curious to see, as someone who took the opposite approach and didn't hide it, to see how people react if that information does come out, if it's actually worse for them to have hidden it. I have questions for myself that need resolving.
Definitely. We'll get some good research here. Ava, Home Alone is a 5-day game, right? So this game was only filmed in 1 day. So it is an absolute sprint. How do you think, from your experience in a much, not slower paced game, but like longer game, how do you think that difference will impact these players here?
Well, like having played any sort of strategic game, it's like hard to capture on camera like how many conversations you're having with people in such a short amount of time, regardless of whether or not the game is like a 5-day span. So I know that like Bryn's name is being thrown around right now for, nominations, but I don't know. I feel like that could really change because it could literally be seconds before you go to the nomination ceremony and, someone has flipped. I can definitely see so many twists and turns with this cast, and I kind of like the fact that it's in 1 day because you're not really like building strong relationships to where it like breaks your heart when you have to betray them, So I really hope to see some betrayals. I'm here for the drama.
Definitely. And Duke, this was your introduction to the show. So what is your overall reaction to things? I know it's a lot of moving parts, but I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts, but I loved every part. I definitely had to take a second look at the rules a couple of times just so I could figure out what was going on. But I love the concept, and I am super excited to see how these 14 contestants go about maneuvering it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. As a host, the Greenhouse is my favorite one to host, mainly because it's like my baby at this point, or it always has been. I created it, but I think it just gives so many opportunities to step on toes, and there's always going to be some kind of opening for you to wiggle your way through. So it'll be super fun to watch this season. As someone who was there, I can confirm it's incredible. If you like seasons 1 and 2, you will love season 3. Thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to especially anybody who's joining us here at season 3. I know that it's a big game. There's a lot of moving pieces, but I promise you'll get the rhythm if you stick with us. It's a great game and you will love it, and an even better season. So with that is our draft for season 3. We'll see who wins both this draft and the game itself. So thank you, everybody.